And everybody, welcome to the Arkansas Diamond Report with Dudley, Dawson. I'm Jason Pattison. I want to thank you guys for joining us this evening. It is June 23rd here live at 7 p.m. Dudley, how you doing, man?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Doing pretty stinking good. Can't complain. It's a little warm outside, but
It's going to be.
it's going to be that way for quite a while, I think, too. And so really quick, let's rehash it. If you have any questions, good, bad, or ugly, make sure to post those, and we'll get those as we get them. Make sure that they're good, because if they're not, man, I'm not going to put that mess on there. We got to keep the lanes clean for the good stuff. So Thursday night, tough night. Really was a tough night for Arkansas. They lost.
Not as tough as Wednesday.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, my days are running together.
Yeah, I hear you. The reason I know is because that was mine and Pedro's 14th anniversary, and so
Yes.
I'm pretty objective about things, but after that rally by LSU, or if we want to call it rally, then she was rather disconsolate, and I tried to tell her about hey, it's a game, it's a Ron and Rock thing, and she's like, I don't want to hear that. Yeah, she's a true fan, and was upset like other fans were that about what went on, and obviously it was a terrific season and a horrific ending.
I can't understand how Arkansas can find a different way, it seems like, to lose a game. And not only lose a game, but lose it in the fact that it makes you just, the insides of you just curl up and want to die.
Absolutely, and you know what? If you had won in 2018, yeah. By the way, that would have been eight straight SEC champions if Arkansas had won in 2018. Obviously with the COVID year there when one didn't play, but the which tells you, about all you need to know about this conference. Everybody knows how good it is, but that 2018, I think this one would have been easier to swallow if you'd won one in 2018, and vice versa. But I still think Coach Van Horn has made it clear he's not retiring anytime soon. He and I have a few more years together, I think. Him coaching, me covering, before we both retire and all that. So coaching. So while I'm still writing, he'll get why he's still coaching. I'm still writing. We'll see.
I'm telling you, it's heartbreaking, and also honestly, it shows the competitiveness and how good the league was, because Texas was the regular season champion, Vanderbilt was the conference tournament champion, LSU is the national champion, Arkansas finished third in the third overall. They finished runner up in regular season play, and they just can't break through, it seems like.
Yeah, and you got to keep thinking it's going to happen sooner or later. But again, the way in which they lost the other night, and I felt bad for Villalobos, and felt bad for obviously Charles Davelin, who had a tremendous season. They wouldn't have gotten there without him. The ball, as we saw yesterday, and a few other plays during the left, trouble judging the ball. Not quite sure. Sometimes during the day, sometimes during the night. Obviously, Chuck, as they called him, started to slip when that ball was coming toward him, and I guess lost it in the air. And thankfully, that young man came to Arkansas, put it all on the line for him, and will probably be in the compensation picks of the first round. And he's one of the 8 to 10 that Van Horn thinks will get drafted. And I'm going to take a little vacation after this upcoming week of working, as they get some additions in here. I already have two in Jackson Wells, and the young man from Vanderbilt that two pitchers, and got a couple of kids visiting this week, and a lot more in the following week as they move this along.
Yeah, talk about your story that you just put out here just a little bit ago.
Yeah, the obviously, just that's one of the things. 8 to 10 kids, what he expects drafted. I've got 19 freshmen coming in. Probably 3 or 4 of those will have the opportunity to get drafted. We'll see if they make it to campus. It used to be a harder thing to get them to do to get to campus, but now college baseball has become kind of chic a little bit. Unless you're getting first round money or second round money, then you're probably going to come to college. If you're a great high school player. So we'll see about that. As I said, to get to Evan McElvain is the left-handed pitcher from Vanderbilt. Have the opportunity to use him in situations. He's a lefty who has had a great year one year for him, and it wasn't so good this year until the back end when he had 8 straight scoreless innings to be able to help them come down the stretch as they did. They charged down the stretch and as we said, it won the tournament and had the number one seed, but couldn't get through it.
Yep. And I was sitting here thinking about this for just a second. Is there anybody that might be looking for first round money that's on the current roster that might not get it, that might be able to get more in NIL, that might come back?
I don't think it's the first round guys or second round guys. Guys like Landon Beetlecheese, Brent Irondale, those could get drafted. I don't think they're going to be drafted high enough that they'll, and I think they'll be back, but we'll see. That's one of the things talked about in the story, the people that are coming back. Ryder Helfrich's going to be back. He's not draft eligible. Same Gackle. You're going to get healthy Nolan Souza back. You would think Carson Wiggins, who might have come out, would have been an option there, but they hoping to get him back for the start of next year. And then Hunter Dietz is the guy that may finally get healthy. We may finally see with the 6'6", 235-pounder that has been has apparently thrown great in practice. But there's only been in 2 games each of the last 2 years. Maybe you get to see him do things next year. You got to assume Gackle will go back to being the Friday night starter, but we'll see what else they add in the portal, because there's probably 20 or so names out there that's being tossed around that could possibly be someone that Arkansas ends up with bringing in. The roster is only going to be at 34 this next year. Everybody gets a full scholarship. It's no splitting, but there'll be a lot of new faces, and I know that they're hoping they do as well in the transfer portal this time as they did last year, because that was a tremendous class that helped get them to the College World Series.
It was. And with NIL now these days, and you were talking about college being chic, it's a lot easier for DVH to talk some of these guys into saying, okay, you may have been a third rounder, but we can get you more money on the NIL. We can get you a full scholarship. We have the comparable facilities and training staff that the majors do, the minors do right now. Come here for 2 years, see what we can do with you, and then from there just keep, and then maybe move forward after that.
Yeah, if you're a guy that was going to accelerate right to the pros, like Paul Skeens, something like that, Hagen Smith, obviously has the opportunity.
Caglione too.
Yeah, but you have, for the most part, the minor leagues don't have the facilities to benefit you as college does, at least at elite places like LSU, Arkansas, and all that. I know that Danny Lachenmeyer is a relief pitcher that they're going to host later this week from North Dakota State. He got a live look at the facilities and stuff when he was here. Yeah. He'll be in to visit this week. Damian Ruiz is a outfielder who led the Southland Conference in hitting, 378. Played right field mostly. Is someone else I think who's coming July 1st. Those are 2 of the guys that they'll have coming in. They'll do the best they can, and you've got 19 high school signees that, as I said, numerous new faces, but you have a core group there that you expect back.
Yep. And that's something to kind of look forward to here over the next couple of weeks. And like you said, also with the roster trims, DVH and staff don't have the luxury of bringing in 40, 50 guys and then trimming it back, or maybe even 60.
And there's 8.
I think you
there's
saw
8.
some
I
of
think
that
already. there's 8 already who have gotten in the portal, and that,
Mhm.
you always wonder, and sometimes you find out whether that was their decision or the program's, DVH and his staff's decision, because you're not going to be able to have 50 in here as you did
Mhm.
during fall ball. You're not going to be able to just kind of hit and miss there. You got to know what you're getting when they're here in August, because that's what you're going to have. And so right now they're in an intense race with pretty much all the other SEC schools and other schools around here to land some of these best replacements that you can get for the outfield. The best that you can get, starting wise. Likely, if Bill goes ahead and he's drafted as well, then you would have lost your basically your 3 starters in that you had in Omaha.
Let's go around really quick around the field as far as current roster players as of the last game. Give me a yes or a no if you think if there's a good chance or if they're not going to be coming back next year. Reese Robinette.
Think he'll be here. I think he has the opportunity to get drafted, but with you only playing in 18 games, I think it was a starting 18 games.
Mhm.
I think a lot more at bats would do you a good, good there. Michael Anderson, who was another one of the first basemen, Rocco Pepe, is out of eligibility. Michael Anderson is in the transfer
Yes.
portal. Kahua Aloy is somebody you could try at first base, but I think that the Reese will be back and probably manning first base unless they land some big time first baseman in the portal.
All right, Cam Koshel.
Yes, yeah, he'll be back. 15 home runs this year. Got to play in Omaha. We'll see if he gets the opportunity to go back.
And I could see him maybe going to short when Nolan comes back, or does Nolan go to short?
I think Nolan probably goes to short, and obviously Gabe Frazier, who was a shortstop, second baseman for them, is he got in the transfer portal as well. But I think you could see Nolan Souza at short, or they've got a freshman from Oklahoma City that is really good, may get drafted. If not, he's one of these guys that will have the opportunity to come in and start right away.
You said Brett Irondale may be back. That's a
It's all
possibility.
about all about how much money gets offered.
About a bit.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
All about the benzos. You said Ryder Helfrich. He'll be back next year.
Absolutely.
Logan Maxwell.
Logan Maxwell, out of eligibility.
Justin Thomas Jr.
Yeah, obviously he probably raised his draft stock a little bit. He is draft eligible. We'll see whether he comes back and he's the leadoff guy next year, or how that plays itself out. I know they'd love to have him back. Obviously, along with Gage Wood, made the College World Series all tournament team. But that's just another one of those of how high is he going to go? What is he looking for? How much money does he get from here?
And then we got Chuck Davalon too.
Going in the first round, I can't see him coming back.
That's amazing. His story going from Canada to Florida to here. First round pick. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's not your normal route.
So let's talk about the hardware that was handed out this last weekend over in Omaha. The 2025 Golden Spikes winner, Vahiva Aloy, took home the honors. I'm gonna bring this up too, man. This is too good not to. So, you got Player of the Year in softball in Briella. You got Player of the Year in baseball in Vahiva Aloy. First time a school has had both winners at the same school. That's huge for Arkansas.
Yeah, and I kind of thought that maybe Liam Doyle and Villoy would kind of cancel each other out, and Alex Lodice, the shortstop from Florida State, would sneak in there and get it. But was happy to see that Aloy got that. I think he was phenomenal defensively and offensively throughout most of the year.
Mm-hmm.
A worthy winner, had a great story, and it's pretty interesting that there's been 3 of those since 2015 now for Arkansas. That's the most for any one program, and is a great recruiting tool.
It really is. And I did like the sportsmanship that LSU was showing him when he was going out to the field to take the honors, because you had all of the coaching staff there with him. But whenever you have a guy that goes out there and puts it on the line every single day, and then having your peers go up there, no matter how hard you compete against them, for them to also support you, that is a big thing.
Yeah, I think LSU obviously is the program now with 8 World Series championships, which is second to USC's 12. But USC hasn't won any in 20 years. uh, in 1998, so that's 27 years, I guess now. And so I think that, you have to give LSU the edge there with what they're doing. But I think Jay Johnson has a lot of class. I think most of his players do. And I know that there's a dust up yesterday with the third base coach in the Coastal Carolina pitcher. But, the players and the coaches think are good. Sometimes the fans, maybe not, but
Yeah.
that's their deal.
Yeah, and Jay Johnson was so gracious too. And every time either you or I have talked to him, he's been so nice. And you just can't. I mean, it's easy to hate LSU, but when you have a guy like that leading a team like that, I mean, you just can't not say, oh, okay, this guy's just trash or whatever. But he's such a class act every time you get a chance to meet him.
Yeah, and he's the antithesis of some others that in both Major League Baseball and college baseball, and it's cool to compliment your foes. It's cool to have sportsmanship.
It is, and sometimes you see it, and there's other times you don't. I mean, don't get me wrong; it goes way back, but still, to this day, modern baseball, you would think that there's a little bit more sportsmanship on the umpires' side, maybe against the whole Coastal Carolina mess that happened yesterday. That was just disgraceful.
Yeah, the room, and yes, he was arguing. Yes, he put up 3 fingers and told him he missed 3 calls already, 3 strikes and balls, and I get it. But know the room. You're not there. Yeah, I mean, umpires are important. Don't get me wrong. You don't play a game unless you have umpires. They're an integral part of the game. But don't try to be the show. And then the whole bumping allegation, when it was really just the dude that tripped over the other umpires. But I don't know if you got to see the his Coastal Carolina coach's press conference after it. I thought it was great. He both took responsibility for it. He says, the two words in their program, we own it, or we own it, and he did it, and said if that was worthy of a ejection, then I'll own it. But I just thought it was a cluster. Let's go with a cluster by the umpires that didn't know the situation. And it's my understanding that home plate umpire doesn't umpire in the major leagues anymore because he got booted out. So,
well, I mean, might happen a second time because, whenever you have an umpire, oh yeah, I get it. If it's the 7th or 8th inning, the guy's been chirping in your ear all stinking game. He's been making maybe some, not maybe such a mockery, but he's been questioning you verbally where everybody can hear it. And then you get tossed in the 7th inning. I get that. But in the 1st inning of all the damn times, that right there is an umpire trying to take the game and making it more about him and having his say so in it versus saying, okay, like you said, reading the room. This is a very high intense competition, a final game for Coastal possibly, which in turn it out to be. You don't make it about you. You make it about the game, and he made it about himself.
Yeah, if that's a regular season game, especially a Wednesday
happen.
game, toss him. If you want to, that's fine.
Yeah.
But you don't do it in a national championship game, and you'll never get me to believe that didn't have some type of effect on the game.
Yeah.
And because you have a leader, that Kevin Chenal, you have the leader all year. And they had won 26 in a row before they lost these last 2. And I think they're obviously a great program. They've won one in 2016, came close to winning it this year. So you have to give them a lot of credit in doing it in a place that, you wouldn't think is a baseball mecca, but it is.
It is. I want to point this out too, because last night was Game 7 of the NBA Finals. You saw Alex Caruso getting into the mug of one of the referees, and I know what he said. He didn't get kicked out for it, and that right there is the difference between a good referee / umpire and a bad one. And yesterday, LSU won, but it could have. I mean, there could have been a definite different outcome for Coastal if they had their skipper in the dugout. And I just it was bad.
Yeah, and
Bad.
I'll say this: everybody knows that I'm a big fan of Tony V, the Tennessee's coach that riles everybody up around
Yep.
here.
Love the guy too.
But and I think obviously gets too excited at times, and he's been thrown out a couple of times because of that, and I think it's been warranted. But do you think he would have gotten thrown out yesterday if it had been that situation? I don't.
No.
Yeah, and and we all can be immature at times. We can all say stuff, but as I said, read the room, and I've gotten a lot better at that as I've gotten older.
That's so true. I think we all do as age, helps us mature like fine wine, So real quick, I want to go over this too. I'm trying to get this pulled up here. No, this is not going to do it here. Hold on here.
Since you had Bree up there earlier, I got a chance. I've watched a couple of the Talons games now. I'm glad that that's having success. They look like they're having pretty good crowds. They're about to hit the second half of their season. Obviously, it's not an extended season, but also Courtney Day is playing in a different league and hit 5 home runs last week.
Lord.
So, way to go, Teach.
And Gibby's also, she's doing pretty dang good too, if I'm not mistaken, too.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to obviously they will have some additions to the roster as we go along here, and that's one of the things this week I'm really diving into is portal recruiting and looking at rosters and covering them both again next year.
And Coach Duffel has found her first baseman that is going to take the spot where Bree Ellis was last year. I don't know if we got a chance to talk about that yet.
I'm not sure. California hit 15 home runs last year. Is someone that has proven she could do it in. It still gets strange to say the Big 12.
Yeah,
Being from Arizona is their thing, but yeah, it's an excellent pickup for them. You would think that she'd be able just to step right in and go from there. And I'm sure they're going to have a few other portal transfers. But the one thing about them, they've got 5 high school kids coming in, a number 4 recruiting class, couple of pitchers, a couple of hitters. They're going to be just fine, I think.
Yeah, Arkansas Gatorade Player of the Year is going to be coming in, and you've got a stacked staff for next year. It's going to be looking good. So really quick, Thunder up. They're the 2025 world champs. The pride and joy of Fort Smith, Jalen Williams and Isaiah Joe took home a ring last night. This is the 4th season in a row that there has been a Razorback that has won a world championship now, along with Bobby Portis, also Jordan Walsh, and I'm forgetting his name off the top of my head. Dudley, it's so bad now. It's so bad.
I'll have to think about it too. But yeah, it's pretty cool around the Dawson household.
Moses Moody.
Celtics won last year, obviously. Petra was born in Oklahoma City and is a Thunders fan. She knows that Celtics need to win too. So it's nice that we've had those back-to-back years. We've got a little shooting, kind of like a basketball shooting game that you'd see at some gaming place, that we have Celtics and Thunder balls out there. So we think we have 2 pretty good teams there.
That's fun. That's the first world championship for the Oklahoma City Thunder / old Seattle Supersonics, as they moved the franchise to OKC in 2008. I really thought
Seattle and Vegas probably going to get the next couple of expansion teams.
I could definitely see that happening, because I know that the league has made an effort to keep Seattle in the fold, making sure that, hey, we took them away, but we're going to give you something back. I know it's been almost 20 years, but still trying to keep them in the fold at least.
Yeah, Vancouver to Memphis. I think a lot of people forget there was a Vancouver team at one point.
Reeves.
They're going to expand a little bit. They're having great And yes, I would have liked for the Celtics and the Lakers to have been in the finals. I'm sure the TV people would too, but they still had pretty good ratings. And I think it was great to see two young teams really, put forth great efforts in the playoffs to get to the finals and then take it seven. And
Yeah.
feel for Tyrese Halliburton, just like Jason Tatum. Their year next year may not include any games, or may include some toward the end. Uh, and I know that you and I and Otis were talking about it earlier
Mhm.
today. Otis is all fired up about the draft Wednesday and Thursday. I will be as well. Although the Celtics picks are 28th and 32. Uh, I bet we get the Creighton big man. But we'll see what else comes out of there. Deuce Thoreau, he could go right out of his range too. I think.
And that's another thing I heard Cal talking about that. Thero would be more of a East Coast fit because of the physical play that he has. So I would like to see him maybe go to the Celtics. That would be kind of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting Wednesday night. We'll have the Cubs and the Cardinals in the afternoon, and
Hmm.
then the NBA draft at night. So
That's going to be a lot of fun. And so be sure to tune in. First round of the NBA draft is on Wednesday. Second round is on Thursday. And if you need any information with that, go check out Kevin McPherson. He has got everything that you need to know. Seriously, everything that you need to know about this draft with any Razorback, hell, almost any team that it seems like that's going to be going into this draft. If you need any information about that, he has got that taken care of for
by the
you.
way,
So,
shout out to Kevin, Otis, and yourself for handling things last Wednesday night. As I said, we had an anniversary on Wednesday, and it went well, except for that ending that she didn't like at all. So, but the
um,
meal at Gaskins was great, and obviously we
yeah.
stopped by the Odd Soul
Mhm.
and Goat Lab. Just it was a good night.
See, and that's the thing too, is that you had a great night, and it kind of felt like it kind of took a little bit of the sting off of the ending of the season too.
It's a night I will never forget. And there was also that baseball game.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the baseball game. I will share one quick story about this. I was tweeting because that night we had Arvis Harper on here live.
Mhm.
Him and I were back and forth. We did. He was so incredible. We're gonna have him on again too. But him and I went back and forth for about an hour, different stories. We weren't commentating the game, but we were watching the game along with everybody else. And towards the end of the game, my kiddo comes up to me and she's like, "Dad, I want to drive." I said, "There's a baseball game on, and I am taking care of some business." She's like, "But I leave for Florida. Can I please drive?" I was like, "Okay, well, I'm going to listen to the game, and if there's anything big, we're going to have to pull over, and I've got to tweet it." She's like, "Okay." So we're driving and driving and driving. And then Vahiva does the whole thing to third. And I told her, I said, "Pull over. I'm going to be sick." And she's like, "Are you serious? What's wrong?" I said, "I just have to make a tweet." She said, "You're sick." I said, "Yeah, I can be sick and tweet at the same time, but I'm not going to puke." And we were on our way home. And so I was listening to the game because I prefer almost to listen to Bubba and to Phil
Yeah,
because
they
they
do a
do such a
great
great
job.
job.
They do a great job.
And if they're on TV, I usually listen to Bubba and Phil on my phone anyway. So I'm listening to the game and I'm tweeting. And I told her, I said, "Okay, I'm done with the tweet. Drive home right now." And then we get to the house. And then the whole Chuck thing happened. And I was like, "Oh, that's it. I can't." And she said, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" And I said, "No, I'm not going to be okay. I'll be okay probably sometime around the end of August."
Yeah, good luck on that. I remember that my daughter, when Lindsay, when I was teaching her to drive,
Mhm.
did not like my, I guess, instructions and just stopped and pulled over and said, "I need Aunt Leslie or Aunt Kara to do it." So,
Well, there's a certain amount of gray hair that one person should be able to collect at one moment in life, and I think that there should be a max. And I feel like whenever you're helping your kids drive, you hit that max every night
yeah, absolutely.
or
It's a
every day.
gray goatee with me now. There's no hair up there. So
Man, I haven't got that quite yet, but it's starting to grow on the sides. And I told her, I said, if you want me to be Snow White by the end of Christmas, I will gladly be Santa Claus, but you're just going to have to deal with it. And she said, no, you're too young.
Well, if you're Snow White, then I guess Otis would be grumpy. I would be sleepy, and Kevin would be, I don't know. I'll
Happy.
put people. Yeah, there you go. There you
Kevin would be happy, and I would be dopey. I'll take it. Or I'll be Doc. I don't care. Also, really quick, before we get out of here, I have one show recommendation. If you guys have Apple TV, go watch Stick.
We're watching it.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, fantastic.
It's a golf show that's not about golf. It's the best way I can put it. And I'm going to tell you, Owen Wilson does a great job. And Zero is an interesting case.
Yes.
I don't know quite how to explain Zero other than Zero is an interesting case. You have to go watch it, though. Well, yeah, everybody. For myself, Dudley, or Jesus Christ, I do this every time. For Dudley and myself, Jason, I want to thank you guys for jumping on with us this evening. Go Hogs.